You can't have mixology without mixing things, right? And two things that go great together are vermouth and sparkling wine. I think anyone that has ever tried a Negroni Sbagliato
with Prosecco in it
would agree with that. So what if you made a sparkling vermouth? It will have all the effervescence of a sparkling wine, but also the botanicals, herbs, spices, and fruity notes of sweet vermouth. I'll then use it to make a Negroni pianificato, because this will be too good to be a mistake. I love thinking of new ways of making cocktails, and if you enjoy that too, subscribe below and hit the bell icon so you'll get notified every time I post a new episode and say, it's cocktail time. So where did the idea for the sparkling vermouth come from? This year I partnered with Fiol to help bring back the glory days of sparkling cocktails. Back in the heyday of the French 75, Key Royale or the champagne cocktails, the sparkling ingredient was more than just a topper, it was the main player. And while the spritz cocktails take over in the summertime, I thought about where else I could incorporate Prosecco to make a flavorful but low ABV cocktail. Negroni's predecessor, Mito or Milano Torino, seemed like a great start, but if you add soda to it, you get an Americano, and if you just add Prosecco, you get a Negroni Sbagliato. So what are we doing here? Well, since we already have a wine component, I thought it would be fun to merge them into one by adding vermouth's botanicals and fortification to the sparkling wine. And before you ask, no, you can't just add carbonation to vermouth and call it a day. Here's why. By concentrating the flavor components of vermouth and adding fortification, we'll boost Prosecco's tasting notes, but we'll also make sure we keep the delicate bubbles in our sparkling wine. For this recipe, I'll be using Fiol's Prosecco Rosé and boosting its tasting notes with our vermouth base. It has fruity notes of apple and pear, red fruits like raspberries and wild strawberries, some citrus, and subtle floral notes of rose, acacia, and peach blossom. We'll build on those with Calvados as the base, which will enhance the apple notes, but it will also bump Fiol's ABV from 11% up to 16 to 18% range, which is typical for vermouth. As for botanicals, I'll be using some citrus peels, some dried herbs and fruits, bittering agents, and sugar. So let's start with making the vermouth's base, then combine it with Prosecco. I'll be using a sous vide cooker for the most control over temperature, but first I'll dissolve the sugar in Calvados. Combine 330 ml or 11 ounces of 40% ABV Calvados and 295 grams of sugar. Pear brandy could also be used, but I wanted to enhance the apple notes of Fiol instead of pear for this recipe, and I know this seems like a lot of sugar, but it will have to be enough for the whole batch of sparkling vermouth. Stir this until dissolved. This will take quite some time, so I'm using my trusted magnetic stirrer to do this for me. If you want one as well, find the link in the description. Once dissolved, add these to a sous vide bag and follow that with our botanicals. First, citrus peels, 4 grams of dried orange and 6 grams of fresh lemon peels. Next, some Mediterranean herbs, 0.12 gram of dried thyme and 0.56 gram of dried basil. For the floral notes, I'll add 0.6 gram of rosebuds and 1 gram of hibiscus, both dried and crushed using a mortar and a pestle. Once we add that, we're on to the red fruits, 40 grams of raspberries, fresh or frozen, both are fine. And lastly, the bittering agents, of which wormwood is key if you want to call this a vermouth base, 0.5 gram of that and 0.1 gram of quinine. This goes in whole, not crushed, and try to get as much air out of the bag as possible. Now we'll seal the bag and place it in a sous vide bath. This is set to 65 degrees Celsius or 150 Fahrenheit, and we'll cook it for 2 hours. Even with all the sugar melted beforehand, it's still a good idea to give everything a little shake, at least once during the cooking process. Once it's done, remove the bag and let it cool completely. Then cut it open and strain the liquid through a coffee filter. What we'll end up with is a vermouth base, with plenty of flavor and ABV. And this is what we'll add to our wine component, resulting in sparkling vermouth. We ended up with around 450 ml with a concentrated vermouth base, which can be used to make around 1.5 liters of sparkling vermouth. There's 2 regular bottles or 1 magnum bottle. I'll fill up 1 classic bottle and then show you another way of using this combination in a cocktail, to make yourself a bottle of sparkling vermouth. I'll first pour out 225 ml of Prosecco, so we'll be starting with 525 ml. I'll weigh the full bottle beforehand. We need a 7:3 ratio of Prosecco and vermouth base. So to get to that, slowly pour in 225 ml of our vermouth base to fill the bottle back up. Careful not to agitate the Prosecco too much, so we keep the bubbles. Close the bottle with a pressure stopper, pump up the pressure, and gently turn the bottle to mix the ingredients. Place it in the fridge for 1 hour for our sparkling vermouth to settle a bit. Once it's nicely chilled, it's time to pour yourself a glass and give it a try. This is one way of combining the 2 ingredients, perfect for a larger batch of cocktails. I'm Another way is to combining the two in the glass for a single serve, and so that you still keep the option of using Prosecco as is. I'm starting with 1 3/4 of an ounce or 52.5 ml of Prosecco Rosé, and then adding 3/4 of an ounce or 22.5 ml of our vermouth base and giving it a gentle stir. You can always multiply the amount of the base by 2.33 to get a 7:3 ratio. Now, let's finally give it a try. It's bright and bubbly. All the notes of rosé are truly emphasized, making it feel like you're drinking an amplified Prosecco Rosé just from the sparkling vermouth itself. It's clear that this will be an excellent ingredient for several cocktails. We have ingredients representing the Veneto region, Milano and Torino, so you could also call this a Veneto cocktail. Let me know in the comments if it should be Veneto or the Negroni pianificato, a plant Negroni. Let's make it. First, grab a chilled glass, into which I'm adding a clear ice sphere. Start with the ingredient representing the Veneto region, Fior Prosecco, 30 grams. Next, with added elements of Torino and Veneto, 90 grams of sparkling vermouth. If you've seen my cocktail hacks, you'll know why I'm using a scale for bubbly ingredients. And you can't have a Mito or a Negroni variation without 1/4 of an ounce or 7.5 ml with the famous Italian bitter from Milan. Lastly, a little salinity from the Mediterranean, a dash of saline solution. Give everything a quick turn with a bar spoon to mix the ingredients, then garnish with an orange slice. It looks amazing, but let's give it a try before we sing its praises. Wonderful orange aroma pairs beautifully with the refreshing, effervescent and balanced cocktail we made. The fizzy vermouth adds a lively kick to the subtle bitterness of Campari. With each sip, you'll taste a blend of herbs and citrus, creating a deliciously balanced drink that's both familiar and exciting. Call it what you will. You'll want to make another. With that, we've made it to the bottom of the glass. Post a sparkling wine emoji to let me know you've made it all the way here. And while you're down there, help us congratulate our director Roby and his wife, who got married recently. Sasha and I were lucky enough to be invited to the intimate ceremony to celebrate their love. And right now, Roby is in Venice, on their honeymoon. Hopefully he can find the Veneto cocktail there.
No Veneto, but a Bellini will do. Cheers, guys.
Cheers and congratulations again. If you forgot you still had some sparkling wine left in the bottle and it went flat, there are some great ingredients you can make from that, including rosé foam and orange liqueur. Check that out there. Until next time, cheers, friends of cocktails.